And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I'm here with my co-host Stevie D. Stevie D, you know, sometimes life just throws you curveballs and everything else. We were supposed to go live and do our show yesterday. Some things ended up happening. Had to move it to today. We were ready to go at 8 o'clock, and some more things ended up happening. So it's just a day in the life. But glad to be back on Stevie D. And I would like, well, first of all, before I even get started with that, want to send a shout out to the guys from Parallel Technologies. Came in town, great time, great meetings. So want to give you guys a thumbs up. They're part of Skull, right? And so, oh yeah, they were talking a little bit of noise. They were talking a little bit of noise. Like we can't wait to see you guys. But no, good crew, diehard sports fans there. So I want to give them a shout out. But Stevie D, but right? If they have, well, that's not the one we want. That's not the one we want. We'll go with that one. We'll go with that one because we have breaking news, baby. We have breaking news coming out of, what is it, the 913? Is
The
that where you guys
913.
are? Coming out of the 913. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. I know you guys are. I'm going to let you kick it off. But Stevie D, please know from my heart, right? Ever since ever since that big, right?
You were in the hospital the day he was born, so
Oh yeah, ever since that. So without further ado, take it away, Stevie D.
yeah. So our OW Sports marketing intern slash my son is officially committed to a college to pursue his academic and athletic career at Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri, and he accepted their offer and accepted the scholarship dollars and all of that good stuff, and he's going to a really good program there. I'm really, when we did the tour and with Coach Jourdain, just everything about the school was the fit for him, and we went towards so many schools in so many different states, and there was so much interest for him from many different schools, and it was great. And we met a lot of great programs, a lot of great coaches, had great conversations. But in the end, when you dissect it, it's, there's some personal things, right? He doesn't want a huge school, right? So then he
Mm-hmm.
liked more of a smaller school kind of feel and more intimate there in the school. And then as we started going through those schools and stuff like that, it was just like when he walked on the campus, it just felt right for him. And then meeting with the coach and going through all of that was just a great experience for him. And we're just so darn excited. He finally made his decision. He said he was going to make his decision before the end of the month, and he did. He came to us over the weekend and said, "This is the school I want to go to." And so we started
Let,
making all the.
let me stop you there for 1 second. Just we got a little shout out from Dana, who used to be our chief marketing officer, and I want Dana to understand that our lead intern, right? That's what we're talking about. Our lead intern is delivering, absolutely delivering on the field, in the classroom, and on social media.
He's
Dana,
a, he's unbelievable, right? He got over 4,000 plays on one video alone, over 1,000 videos on another, 600 plays on another. I mean, so he was killing it. He
you,
got fired again.
Dana, maybe you need to be the intern to the intern to see how it's done because he's producing, right? And that's what it's about. It's about production. I didn't mean to cut the story short, though,
Yeah,
Stevie D, because there's so much, and I'm so happy. As I said, so happy, so proud. It
yeah, I
seems
hear
just like yesterday, whether it be the pictures or whether it be just hearing about him transitioning really from football right to baseball.
you. Yeah,
And I remember when he was the catcher. I remember when he was playing in different infield positions, just the knowledge of the game, then moving to pitcher, right, and then watching him just mature and kind of grow into it, right,
yeah,
and just you start hearing all of the communications that are coming, whether it be from some of the camps that he's going to or some of the tournaments, and just the feedback. I'm really happy. As I said, I remember this big, right?
Yeah.
And so it's
He,
just
he
awesome.
had he had a really good year last year. I think he had 5 or 6 complete games that he threw in the summertime, and
Here we go. Here comes shade. Here comes shade. Let's get ready to watch the Ravens and the Bucks tonight. All right. Why don't we talk about that?
yeah. But yeah, it's all how it all kind of come around, and to see him getting ready to take the next step, and just to kind of finish it, it's when you listen to coaches talk about your son on visits and listening to them really break down him as a pitcher and talk about his pitches that he can throw, and he can throw them for strikes, right? He's, colleges say, I'm lucky I can find a kid who can throw two pitches for strikes. And he's got, 3+. They called it 3+. He's actually got 5 that he can man for strikes. And to hear coaches gush over his spin rates, right? When they put the devices down and it calculates all the spin rates and all the stuff and the movement that he possesses. It's kind of cool to hear that from a coach and get kind of excited about bringing him aboard. And so, I'm excited for him to take that next step. And
So now we got to work on an NIL deal. All right. You and I, we're gonna put our
right.
heads together. We're gonna get this NIL deal, right? Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
Somehow we're gonna be funneling some funds into that bank account. He'll be car dealerships, car wash, right? Local corner stores. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Then again, if we had our chief marketing officer, we'd have to talk about places that we would talk about
Right. Sure.
OW Sports After Dark, right? That's where our former chief marketing officer would take us. Montrez, Mont Venus, things like that.
Why are you going there? I don't know if Mrs. D will be too excited about that. Richard maybe. So, but I one last thing before we move on from that. I would be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to thank Advanced Baseball Academy in Overland Park. They're actually moving their headquarters to Stillwell. He's been with them for close to 10 years. And to watch him come in as a child, really, right at 9 years old, and see him, as he's getting ready to turn 18 here in February, to see that maturation of him has been unbelievable to watch. And so, they deserve a lot of credit. Rich worked hard, but they get a lot of credit for help molding him into a complete ball player, not just throwing the ball, but a mindset of being a pitcher and how to control your emotions on the mound, to showing no emotion, right? Whether the results are good or bad, and taking an immature child and turning him into a pitcher ready to play in college, and having that mindset of don't worry about the result. Next play, everything's next play. Right. And so a lot of credit to Luke Town and his academy and his coach, Todd Johnson, who just stepped away this year, and Cliff Poindexter. Just a great job by all of them. Charlie, his pitching coach, has really gotten with him on his pitches and stuff like that. So I just wanted to give them a shout out to what they have done and worked with him over 10 years. So thank you.
No, fair enough. So we're going to keep, obviously, that goes without saying, but we're going to keep tracking. We're going to bring the updates to OW Sports, just on the maturation, the progression, the wins. I'm not going to say the losses, just the wins, right? Because I expect an undefeated college career, right? I'm setting the bar here. So there will be no losses, right? So,
well, he went 7-1 last year, so he apologizes for the one loss there. So, anyway.
All right. So, Stevie D, as we kind of go into the week 7, I had the worst week, Stevie D, the absolute worst week, because I was on a bye week. And let me tell you, the bye week is the worst thing in the world, because you're sitting around, no disrespect, but you're just watching everybody with no emotion. And it's just, I was flipping through, right, watching one game, and nothing really was getting me, right. And you were at 4 o'clock. I was going to watch you guys, but the 1 o'clocks were just killing me. until we started seeing all these upsets, or what we would deem to be upsets, right? Brady going down, right?
Going
Aaron
down
Rodgers going
bad,
down.
going bad, down
Yes,
bad.
absolutely. And then you start to think, did they lose because of lack of talent, or are they losing because Father Time is finally catching up to them, right? And I
I
think it's a little bit of both. For Tom, well, I'm not a fan of, right? Not a fan. But Tom has a lot going against him right now, right? Just look at him as the quarterback. Age, right? That you can't beat Father Time. You just can't. But then you have the personal life, right? And your personal life is under the microscope, right? It's being shown on the big screen. So everybody is hearing everything from what Giselle is saying, what you're saying, what you're not saying, what she's not saying, right? And that takes wear and tear on them, right? Then you look at what's going on with the team, right? You don't have your security blanket in Rob Gronkowski, right? He's gone and retired. So you're a tight end quarterback, right? You're a tight end friendly quarterback, going all the way back to your days in New England, right? And then you come to Tampa. Now Gronk is gone. So you rely on Cameron Brate, who is a solid tight end. He really is a solid tight end. But now Cameron Brate's out, right? Then you look at your other wide receivers, and you got Godwin, who is just God. I almost feel bad for Godwin because he's constantly he just gets hurt, right? Take some of the most. You see some guys that never take that big shot. Godwin's always getting hit with the big shot. So you have him down. Julio Jones down. Russell Gage down, right? And so now it's Mike Evans. And of course, Mike Evans decides to return to his days from Texas A&M, wide open, ball
that
off the hands, knees, face mask.
that's awful. When you talk about, he hits that play, maybe there's something different with the mojo going. But to me, I think one of the biggest problems, and you mentioned a lot, right? Injuries, right? And every team goes through them, right? Their running game is dead last in the NFL. Dead last.
Yes.
It's not even close. Their running game is atrocious. And with an
Yep.
aging quarterback and things that are going on, that's a recipe for disaster. Now I don't have to worry about the run. Oh man, that's a big time. I don't have to worry about that. Now I can sit back and have fun because you can't run the football. I think that's part of why it's going sideways. And look, Todd Bowles, right? And I like Todd Bowles, man. I really do. But I think there's some accountability to him and the coaching staff there as well. And Todd Bowles was handed, for the most part, a playoff team. And they are far from a playoff team right now. And
Yeah.
where is the coaching trying to figure this out? And that's what you're paying coaches to do when you hit adversity and you still have talent on a team. How do you navigate that? Now they're a little banged up in the secondary this week against Baltimore. They got some injuries in the secondary, but again, welcome to the NFL. Everybody's got it. Nobody feels sorry for you, right?
Trust me,
So,
I don't.
yeah,
Trust me, I
right.
don't. I had to deal with
So
that week 1, week 2, week 3, and finally getting healthy. So yeah, that's when you talk about the bye week, that's what I was dealing with, and then of course I watched your game.
the pillow fight.
Well, it was more than a pillow fight. It was two good defenses, and you suffered a bad loss. We're going to talk about that. Two bad losses. We'll talk about that. I I'm not going to lie. I really was pulling for the Broncos. Yeah,
Because you don't want me on top of you guys. You
no,
feeling the pressure. You feeling the
no,
pressure having the team right up your butt. Yeah.
you're too close, right? I
Yeah,
want to be able
yeah,
to
I hear you.
relax.
I hear you. I'm rooting for Green Bay this weekend. You got that right. I mean, it's not going to happen. I'm pulling for. It's different when our teams are separated, right? You're kind of like, yeah,
Absolutely.
go ahead, man. You don't got a shot. Like, go ahead, win your 4 games a year. You're good, right? Now all of a
That's
sudden,
because
it's a little tighter.
little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie, a
But
little uncomfortable.
Look, think about this too. We've
Hey,
known each
Terry.
other. Hey, Terry, how are you, Terry? We've known each other now 22, 23 years, right? This is the first time our teams have been 1-2,
Yeah,
Right. So we've never had that. Like I've had it where the Jets were making the playoffs and you weren't, and now you're making the playoffs and the Jets are not. We've had those scenarios, but we've never had it where we were 1-2 in the division. I mean, that's we're in uncharted territory in our friendship, right? So,
and trust me, to everybody out there, if we get to week 12, 13, 14, and we're still like this, you better tune into this show because
I'm cramping right now because I'm laughing so hard because it's like, I mean, in the 23 years we've never had this, so it's gonna make fun. There's no doubt about it.
I don't like that kind of fun. I don't like it. Go back to the back of the bus. Let us just drive the bus for the AFC East. That's all I need, right?
He's not taking my calls no more. What's going on?
That's exactly what would happen. A little hot under the collar, but back to the Bills, and I'll wrap it up because it was the bye week, right? But I think the good of the bye week, I have to admit, and this kudos goes to our MVP this week. Game ball goes to Sean McDermott because we made it through the bye week without any arrests, without any suspensions, without anything that goes on in a typical NFL team that has a bye week, right? The bye weeks breed just guys feeling they're invincible, go party, go do whatever. And so, sure and bold, there it is, the article, clink.
I think when your team is focused, right? Your team is focused on a goal, and the brotherhood is truly there, where everybody's playing for each other. Like last year, you had the Cole Beasley debacle, right? He was not a team player last year, and I think there was some things there in the locker room, but probably didn't even come out. But it was there. You know it when there's a guy being outspoken like that and putting your team in the news and not in a good light. And you look at the team right now, and everybody's together. You have a great bye week because everybody's in for each other, and so that's a good thing for the Buffalo Bills.
They showed a picture, and it was I guess Josh threw the Halloween party, right? And you saw all the guys there, and to your point, right? That's the brotherhood. Everybody's together. Hey, we're gonna hang out here, right? We're not gonna get in the shenanigans over there. Don't deal with any of that, but. And then maybe Josh gets a game ball too, right? Because he really has stepped up and become the leader on the field for the team. But definitely for me, McDermott, and I was very happy with that. Another thing that is very promising is that we're getting closer and closer to Tre'Davious White coming back, right? Our all-star goalie as well as Pro Bowl cornerback, right? So if you haven't seen the videos of the Tre'Davious White Goalie Academy, you got to go look that up. It's hilarious.
And check out owsports.net. Go to the Buffalo Bills and find out what Halloween candy Josh Allen doesn't like. I'm not going to tell you. You got to go check out the link on owsports.net. It's a great article on the Halloween candy for Josh Allen.
I see you sliding in.
You like that one?
I see. Yeah, I see. You learned a little bit from our guest last week how to just slide that right in. Very nice. Very nice. But, so, Trey Day is back. He won't be playing this week, but that's okay, right? When you come off of the injury that he had, they have done just a masterful job of bringing him along, not worrying about, the games you have early, right? And we had no disrespect to the teams that we have after the bye, but at least on paper, it looked very daunting, right? Preseason, it looked like the Rams are like, oh boy, you got to deal with this, the Super Bowl champions. You got to deal with Lamar Jackson. You got to deal with Tua, with Waddle, and Tyreek Hill out there, right? And you just start going through that list, and you think, I got to have Trey back. But Christian Benford, Khair Elam, Dane Jackson all have stepped up. And not only have they stepped up, we've taken the proper care and feed for Tre'Davious White. So when he does come back, he's fully healthy and ready to go. So I'm very happy for that. I guess that's my trick or treat that I'm going to be getting is I'm going to look at my bag. Number 27 is coming out. He's going to be my CB1, and we're ready to roll. Full healthy roster. So,
and I think your D line has stepped up, bringing that pressure. So the quarterbacks have to get rid of the ball quicker and takes less pressure off your corners, especially your young corners. So that again, I don't want to I just thought your D line was really, really impressive in the start of the
Yeah.
season.
And Stevie D, that's what we had talked about leading into the season, right? Was the depth up front, right? And the fact that, whether it be obviously the addition of Von Miller, but, you have Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham, Jordan Phillips, Shaq Lawson, AJ Epinesa. You can go down the line, right? And there's guys I left out, but you can go down the line. You have so much good talent, right? You have some that is great talent, then you have good talent. So that depth is right there that you can constantly bring that pressure, but you can also rotate them. So they're staying fresh and they're staying healthy, right? When other teams you get into the fourth quarter, these guys are just dragging, right? Usually that's when you get your biggest runs, right? Is because that
Yeah.
defensive line can't really get out of the stance to attack the running plays, big holes, and that happens in the fourth. Now we're fresh. We're able to stop the run. We're able to bring the pressure on the pass. So a lot of great things. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy, as I would say. Happy. All right. So we to wrap up the Bills real quick. We are home Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers comes to town. Well, you could do that. You could do
Come
that.
on, you cannot be nervous about Aaron Rodgers.
I absolutely am.
People.
I,
Let me tell you something about Aaron. He is missing open receivers, not because he's making bad throws. He's not seeing them. You know how we talked about Russell Wilson not seeing open receivers. When I watched the aerial footage of Aaron Rodgers over his last few games, it's bad. It is really, really bad. They're not leveraging Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon enough to help Aaron Rodgers. The receivers aren't getting separation.
He still has one or two, maybe three left in the tank. He still got.
Look, it's a big game for them.
It is prime time.
Yeah.
Back, what are they? 3 and 4 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys have a double digit. The spread is double digits. It's the first time ever.
It is. I don't like it. I don't like. See, you scoff, but now all of a sudden you're saying, "Oh, well, yeah." So,
if you go by the superstitious part about it, right? Will they lose 4 in a row? Right? Will they? They've never been a double digit underdog. Aaron came out and said X. This week, and I just don't see it. After watching them play, I get it. Their defense is actually pretty good. They really do have a good defense, right? But your offense is very powerful. So I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not listen to this man, right? Do not get your head big. We have to just stay in the moment. Remember how I say we don't think beyond the game. We don't think beyond.
I'm not thinking beyond the game. I'm
not thinking beyond the play. All right, we're taking one play at a time. If we can win drives, then we're good. All right, but until then, we're taking one step at a time, and that's it. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Jets. You're not going to go into doing that. Not going to happen. Yeah, you want me to do a dance? I'll do the dance for you because it's not happening. It is not happening. Just like you said, 20 plus years. I know where you're going. I know what you're trying to do.
Honestly, I wasn't going there. I at some point, older quarterbacks, to me, it's all about Aaron Rodgers' selfishness to want to be paid $50 million a year.
It's all about you wanting to get in first place. If you win, I know where you're going.
Look, if you lose, gravy, but you're not losing this game. There's no way you're losing a game at home against
one
Green
play
Bay.
at a time. One play at a time. That's all we're asking for. One play at a time. Just win the line of scrimmage.
You sound like Bill Belichick, man. You sound like Bill Belichick, man.
No, if I was Belichick, I wouldn't say anything else. Let's move on and talk about the Jets. We're just going to talk about the Jets.
All right, let's talk about them Jets.
All right, so yes, I can't wait. Again, one more thing. Here's a nut. I love the fact that we're doing so well. I love the national attention. I love Josh getting all these national commercials. Love it all. But you're killing my Sundays. Because now I got to sit there all Sunday long now and wait till the 8 o'clock start.
Yeah.
I miss the 1 o'clock
But
starts. I
but you
miss the
don't
one
have
o'clock
Al
starts.
Michaels. But you don't have Al Michaels.
This is good. You have brought up a good point. I tried to explain that to somebody. I forget who I was talking to. I was like, yes, Al Michaels is just he hates the Bills. That's a whole nother rant.
Al Michaels is to you as Bob Costas is to me.
And I felt for you during the playoffs. I did.
They booted him off the ALCS. They took him off. There was so much backlash that TBS removed him from the rotation. He was supposed to do it, and they got a different lead to do that series. That's how bad the people were complaining. Good for TBS. Good for them.
Not a Costas fan either. But all right, yeah, we've been playing around. Let's talk about the Jets. I really had this listed as the Jets ER, right? Because I think we're watching reruns of MASH, right? I think we're watching ER. I think we're watching Chicago Hope because every time we watch or we talk about the Jets, there's somebody getting hurt. And this time, Stevie D, this is rough for you. So I'll let you go.
Breece Hall was a steal where he was at the second round. That kid is a player. I didn't realize how quick he was until I saw him go to the house on Sunday. When he got to the outside, he put on those afterburners and he was gone. And it's just an awful shame what happened to him with his ACL, and he's lost for the year, right? I mean, the Jets were just devastated by injuries in that first half. We lost Breece Hall to the knee. We lost Vera Tucker, the right tackle, who's really a right guard, but he's played right guard, right tackle, left tackle, and center this year. You want to talk about a Swiss Army knife. And, oh, by the way, he's never played left tackle in his life. He's never played right tackle in his life. And he's never played center in his life. He's only played guard. Okay, and he did it when the Jets needed him the most, and he played it at a very high level. And so that's a huge loss on the line for Vera Tucker. And then we lost Corey Davis to a knee injury. So we were really hurting, and we really didn't have Elijah Moore because he was.
How long is Davis out for? How long?
A couple of weeks. It's going to be a couple of weeks with the knee. They didn't really disclose what's wrong with the knee. It's just a knee issue, and he's going to be out a couple of weeks.
Is that why Elijah Moore was welcome back?
No, the Jets said from the very beginning. I just think he was having a pity party and he went about it the wrong way. And if you look at his targets, 3 weeks earlier he had 9 targets. But I mean, that's the NFL. I mean, I understand that you want the ball, but going publicly about it is for a second-year play. It's played 19 games in the league, right? 20 games in the league. Like, what are you doing, right? So, not really the smartest play there. I don't know people in his corner what advice he was given, but I don't think it was the smartest advice in the world. I'm glad that they patched it up because I really think the kid is a player. I just think the Jets have to put him in the right spots to succeed, and putting him on the outside is not a spot for him to succeed because every time I've seen him on the outside, he doesn't do anything. He's got to be in closer and let his quick footwork get the ball to him real quick and let his footwork kind of take over.
Sure.
But when I looked at that game against Denver, not having Russell Wilson, I was kind of disappointed because that's how much I think the skills of Russell Wilson went downhill. I wasn't happy that we got Rippon as the quarterback. I was a little bit more concerned about Rippon throwing the ball because he can throw it, right? But at the end of the day, the Jets defense was just smothering. And you talked about it earlier about the defensive line. The Jets pass rush really wasn't there pretty much all game. But in that fourth quarter, when they needed the most, that pressure came. And I think it's that rotation of guys. We have 8 guys on the line that can be rotated. And I think that really came up towards the end of the game when we needed to seal the game. And Sauce Gardner, if you don't know his name, you better get to know it real quick because he is something special. Now, he's got to start learning how to intercept the ball because they're going to keep throwing it to you away until you learn how to catch it. But he leads the NFL in pass deflections, and he's got 12 this year. What?
2-0 lead for Kaiir Elam over Sauce Gardner in the interception department.
Sauce Gardner's got 1.
Okay, so 2-1.
Yeah.
We still
Yeah.
got the lead, baby.
Yeah.
Again, another Jet looking at the back of the Buffalo Bill. Just wanted to put that out there.
It's funny because the Jets would have had the offensive rookie of the year and a defensive rookie of the year, but unfortunately for Brees, that won't happen. But Sauce won again. How many weeks are we in the NFL? 7. Jets rookies have won the rookie of the week 5 out of 7. So it's kind of nice. That kind of reassures how good the rookie picks were doing for the Jets. So at the end of the day, what the Jets do?
You sure those aren't sympathy awards?
Oh, come on, player. You better just watch yourself now. All right. You want to talk smack
saying.
now? I don't have to hold my head down. You better not lose at home to Green Bay.
I'm just saying. Are you sure they're not sympathy awards? They see how well you're trying. You're on the precipice.
We got the best
being
corner in the
a
league.
good team.
We got the best corner statistically in the league right now. Come on.
Okay.
So wait until your boy gets back on the field. Maybe we'll see if he makes a play. We'll see. Just saying.
You're talking about a rookie.
No, I'm talking about White. T. White.
No, you're talking about a rookie. Your rookie hasn't even cut his teeth in the NFL.
Yeah, well, he's finding out.
Hold on to that little chain.
Ask Jamar Chase with his 29 yards receiving. How good Sauce Gardner is.
Speaking of Jamar Chase, out 5 weeks.
I didn't hear that. I knew he got hurt. I didn't know it was 5 weeks.
5 to 6 weeks. That's a big blow. That's a big. Sorry to say that's a big blow.
It is a big loss. I didn't realize. I knew he was hurt. I thought it was serious, but I didn't hear what it was. It was a non-contact injury. So really, you're really lucky. It's only 5 weeks. When you hear non-contact, it's normally for the year. So, but overall, I mean, at 5-2, I mean, come on. I mean, it's a blessing here at 5-2, and the team is really now a quarterback position. Whew, man, it's got to get better. It's got to get better. I mean, Zach Wilson was under a lot of pressure from Denver's defense. They were all over him. Our line is a mess, but there was about 4 throws in that game that were inexcusable for an NFL quarterback not to make. Sorry.
There's 4 throws. The Madden throws?
No, I'm not even talking about the Madden throws. I'm just talking about I'm in the pocket. I got my guy right there, and I overthrow him by 2 yards. Right? Or I'm throwing it in the dirt. It was not good. It was not good at all. And then the whole thing of you can't run back 20 yards in the NFL. It just doesn't work. Right? And I notice a lot of young quarterbacks do that. And I don't know at what point do they stop doing it, but it's not good. And then I'm just going to throw up a Hail Mary just for the heck of it. Now, it was almost completed to Tyler Conklin, and Richard's yelling at the TV saying, "You got to die for that." I said, "Richard, do you know how many yards Tyler Conklin already ran?" And then all of a sudden, he's got to run across the field to try and catch some wild throw by the quarterback. He's out of gas, dude. He probably ran 80 yards on that play. But anyway, Zach has got to get better. And I don't want to hear the wide receivers and the lack of it, at that point of the game. It's you got to be smarter. You got to hit your throws that are easy throws in the league, and he's not doing it. And when you talk about can you keep the train moving, right? You can. Now Denver's got a very good defense, and we managed to have 4 scoring drives. The Jets have scored the most points that Denver's given up at home this year, which is 16, and that's the most they've given up at home so far this year. You got to make those easy throws. Got to do it, and he didn't do it. And
the one
I'm
thing,
not worried.
The one thing I saw with Zach, and I don't know if maybe this was just that particular game because of the Broncos defense, but it looked like the accuracy just isn't where it needs to be. Guys are going behind.
It had nothing to do with Denver.
Going behind and going low and going high. Those are the types of passes that are going to get your receivers exposed, right? Because then if it's not precise, then that linebacker or that safety that's breathing right down your neck is going to make that contact, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta put it on him.
He's got accuracy issues. He's had it, and I don't know if that's just a young quarterback in the league, and he's just got to grow and get more games underneath his belt, and hopefully it starts coming a little bit. But his accuracy to me is a problem, right? And at some point, one, I got to have our line there, which is not going to happen this year, right? With Tucker out, but I'm hoping Fant's going to come back, get him at right tackle. Max Mitchell's going to come. We can put him at guard, and we somewhat stabilize the line. because right now we're so not stabilized right now. We got to get it stabilized and then hopefully see him to be able to drop back and throw the ball, because his completion percentage under pressure is abysmal. His passer rating when he has the normal time to throw, it's fantastic. So we can see that when he's got the time, he can make the throws. The statistics show it. But when he's got pressure, I think he's last in the league. I mean, it's that bad. It's that bad under pressure. His passer rating is way down. So he's got some things to clean up. But overall, as a Jet fan, if you'd say you would be 5-2, holy cow, you take it all day. You take it all day long at 5-2. I think the coaching staff has settled in. I think our young kids have gotten in. Our veterans are all in. The steal that we signed is Quan Alexander. Has been an unbelievable linebacker for the Jets. He plays fast. He hits hard. Real excited with Quan Alexander there.
The move of the year is the trade for the running back.
Oh, James Robinson. We didn't even get to that point yet. You want to talk about, I mean, Joe Douglas.
I give you credit.
He loses his running back really Sunday. They knew it's Sunday. By Monday, he pulls the trade for James Robinson. And not only the trade, you get him for a 6th, which can turn into a 5th. But he's a restricted free agent at the end of the year. The Jets can attach draft compensation for a 2nd or a 3rd rounder on him. So if you want him that bad, we're going to get maybe a 2nd or a 3rd rounder for him. So I got the running back for nothing. That's what you're telling me. So just a smart move by Joe Douglas, and people that don't really know Joe Douglas, the guy is a genius with trades. He pulls off some trades and gets picks back, and he's just a master at that. Who would have thought a Jet GM could be master at something like that? But he is. But James Robertson, you want to talk about, man, picking up a clubhouse and saying to your players, we're all in. Like, we know we're hurting, but we're all in. And, you know.
Now, the interesting thing is that now coming out of Duval is that I guess Robinson and Peterson never really got on the same page, right? And that, which is odd because he's the veteran running back who really was a leader of that team because of his success, and you kind of just cast him aside for the rookie, right? The injured rookie is who you really cast him aside for. So I was shocked.
It happens, right? In clubhouses where whatever, maybe coach asked him to do something, he gave him an attitude, or maybe he had a nagging injury and he got on the bed. You don't know what gets you on the bad side with a coach, right? But you know what? I'll take him all day because I already had him on one of my fantasy leagues, so it's like on the bench. So I was like, "Come on, baby.
I saw that.
Come on, baby."
Here I am looking around and trying to make some trades, and when did you get him?
I have had James Robertson ever since he came into the league. I've always had him on one of my teams. I love that kid out of Jacksonville, an undrafted kid that is so hungry and works so hard to make something out of nothing. Because you know how hard that is as an undrafted player to come in and then become a starter? You root for kids like that. And so, I picked him up very early on in his rookie year when I saw he's getting the touches. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a flyer on him. And he's produced ever since for me. He just had that one injury, but happy for him, happy for the Jets, and showing the fan base that, hey, we're all in all the way. It's a big week again against New England. We don't typically win too many games in the division. We beat Miami the first time around, so hopefully we can get our second win in the division. Belichick is playing the musical quarterbacks. I can't believe what he did against the Bears on Monday night. It was puzzling. After the 3rd drive, he pulls Mac Jones for Zappe. It was just kind of weird. I think it took the players all off guard. Now, Zappe came in. Boom, it was a touchdown. I'm like, son of – it's a family show, so I'm not going to go there. But I said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This guy comes right in and bam, it's a touchdown?
Oh, I was saying that because I was in my daily fantasy. I had put Zappe in there, right? Figuring, Mac Jones is going to play, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, I'm watching, the pregame show, and they're like 5 minutes before kickoff. And they're like, Belichick has made this decision. It's going to be Mac Jones. It's going to be the starter. I'm grabbing my phone and I'm trying to get logged in. Now, beads of sweat coming down, right? I got sweat across the forehead because I'm trying to get in. Now, all of a sudden, my hands start to get a little sweaty. I can't hit the right button. Finally, I get in and I get Zappy removed, put in Mac Jones. I'm like, okay, I think I'm good, right? I'm in the money, so I need this, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm good. So I'm watching. I'm like, good old Mac Jones, right? Throws the pick. I'm just like, I should have left Zappy in there. I would have been better with 0 points than negative points. All of a sudden, they come back from commercial. Here's Zappy. What? Right? And then he throws the touchdown. Oh, man. You got to be kidding me. But then kind of came back to earth.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the life of Bailey, right? Zappy. I think his name is Bailey Zappy. That's an interesting name. But, it's just going to be interesting with New England. I heard a stat. If you take Tom Brady away from him, Belichick's career record is 11 games under 500 without Tom Brady.
Okay.
Just saying.
I don't. Yeah, okay. It's a different New England team. I hear that.
It is a
stat all
different
the
New
time.
England team, right?
That comes
Absolutely.
from all the Brady lovers, right? What you were seeing in Foxborough is not the same cast of characters that we used to see back in basically 2000 through 2018. Not the same team, right? Whether it be in the secondary, whether it be just in the defense as a whole, offensive line has always been their trademark. Their running game is average at best, right? They never had great wide receivers, but they don't even have the good possession wide receivers, right? It's a completely different remake of the team.
They're
Yeah,
a long
Tom's
way
fun.
from remaking this team, though. They're not,
Yeah, I would agree.
when I look at this team, when you're talking about competing for a playoff spot, I don't see it even really competing for a playoff spot, this roster. I just don't. I don't see it. I'm trying to find their outside of Judon and the other guy on the defense. They're killing it. Those two. I don't see it anywhere else on the field where they're going to get consistent, good, really good play. And I can't say that I'm disappointed. I'm excited.
No,
right?
no.
Right?
But
It's great to see them.
Something interesting. Growing up, the Patriots did not faze me, right? I think
They were awful when we were growing up. They were really bad. I hated Steve Grogan. I hated Steve with that stupid neck roll. He had a neck a mile. I couldn't stand
his neck was this long, and the neck brace was still here, and still his shoulders were down here, right?
Can't stand him.
But it just the Patriots. They were in the division, and it was what it was. Same with the Colts when they were in the division. It was what it was. Right now, you look at the Jets, you look at the Dolphins. I hated the Dolphins, still hate the Dolphins. I didn't like the Jets. I'm not going to say I hated the Jets, but didn't like the Jets. And that was it. Then the Patriots went on their little bit of a run, right? I despise the Patriots, not because they won, but because how they won, right? Whether it be from the Tuck rule, right, which got everything going, to then you had Spygate, and then you had the bandwagoners coming on. Then you had Deflategate, and then you had everything else that went in between. It was just like, enough is enough, right? And of course, we're at the receiving end of these beatdowns and shellackings, right? Giving up 50 something points and having us constantly hanging half 100 and then just talking like they're the greatest thing. And then you listen to the Patriot fans, right? And as you listen to the Patriot fans, Tommy's the greatest thing. Tommy for this, right? And that's what you had to listen to. And Belichick and all that. But these are the same guys that have no idea, Hartley Dykes and Van Egan. Yeah, Van Egan, Tippett, right? All those guys, at least I'm giving you the names when we were growing up, right?
Don't forget about Lippett. Don't forget about Lippett, because those guys used to drive me nuts.
Lippett, yeah. And so you had all those. They don't know about those guys, right? And you can say, well, I wasn't born then. Well, that's fine. I wasn't born when Cookie Gilchrist was running, but I sure enough know about him, right? Billy Shaw. I know about him, right? And I can go down the list, right? Because I'm a fan. You're not a fan. And so you almost don't get the right to speak. Just enjoy what's happening, but I don't want to hear from you, right? I have somebody at work, right, the other day talking about your Patriots. Well, I don't watch football anymore. Huh? What? That was my
That
expression.
that same guy, that same guy that used to trash talk you.
No, well, I may have told you about him, but yeah, he starts talking, a while
Yeah,
back. Oh yeah, your Bills, the Patriots and blah blah blah, Tommy and all that kind of nonsense. Now you're 3-4. Oh, I didn't have time to watch football. I got other things to do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Right? And then I called him out. Right? You jumping off the bandwagon. He just smiled. What are you smiling about? Right? Don't come talk to me when you're winning, right? Show me the true passion of a fan, right? Matter of fact, I think Dana was there when that all went down. So I said I was going to call it out. Yeah, I'm not going to call you out by name. Yeah, I won't do that. But it's stuff with the Patriots, and that's why I still don't like the Patriots because of the fans, right? If you give me the fans that appreciate their team when they're high and appreciate their team when they're low. They're supporting them when they're low, right? And then you're taking that ride back up to the top, right? You can appreciate that ride.
right.
Don't come
Like,
to me just because
think about
both of
this.
us,
Right.
both
I've
of
been
us.
on video for the last 5 years supporting the team rather than bad. So, I got
Absolutely.
video proof.
Absolutely. So hey, I just don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, to digress and get back to some other things here, Stevie D. Interesting happenings in the NFL this week, right?
Mhm.
Matty Ice benched for the rest of the season. Now he's hurt, right? But
Well,
bench for the rest of the season.
well,
Yeah, okay.
well,
All right.
it
All right.
came down to
Yeah.
money. It came down to money. And they came out and
It,
said it was about the money. And, I am not a fan of Matt Ryan. I never was. He went to Boston College, so I'm not a fan of Boston College, so I'm not going to be a fan of Matt Ryan. All right. Wasn't a fan. He put up some fantasy points there for more than a few years in Atlanta, but not a Matt Ryan guy. Especially when you're up 28-3 in the Super Bowl and you blow it. I'm not a fan.
To
Yeah.
Tommy.
Right. But with all that said, he came out today and talked about it. And I thought he could have went a couple of different ways with it. I thought he was up more professional, at least in front of the cameras. What he's like behind the cameras, I don't know. He said all the right things. Says, I like this kid. I'm going to support this kid. I'm going to do all the right things. And so I like that from a team perspective. It takes anything that may be going on, at least on the front side. Hey, I'm all in as a teammate. Now he's getting paid to sit on the bench, and his banged up body is going to be paid a lot of money this year and next year. So I'm not really feeling sorry for Matt Ryan, but I thought he at least did the right thing. He said all the right things in front of the camera, and hopefully this kid Sam is going to do some things over there. I think it's great that they're giving him a shot, but make no mistake about it, this is about money and not about Sam, because they came out and said it was about the money. Because if they play him, then there's escalators in the contract on the guaranteed money. And they don't want to take on another, I think it was $5.9 million of guaranteed money next year. So
What the Colts have done is openly said we're tanking. No disrespect to this kid that's coming in, but you've openly said we're tanking, right? Where's Roger Goodell in all of this? I know you're a franchise and you can do whatever, but we're week 7, Stevie D. Week 7. And you've shut it down. You have shut it down.
They lost this week, right? They lost this week. Yeah. So they're 3-3-1. How many teams are 3-4-3, 3-4? They're 3-3-1. And they're giving up on the season because they don't want to pay the money. They don't want to. Now, I got to be honest with you, Matt Ryan. There's nothing that I see in Matt Ryan that says that's a guy I want to go with when he comes back from separated shoulder. I don't look at it and say, oh my God, he was all world before he got hurt.
They're 8-9, 9-8 at best, or 8-8-1.
I think because we don't know what this kid can do, right? Can this kid lead him to an 8-9 or 8-8-1? Ooh, we're back to 8-8.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. With Matt Ryan, they're 8-1,
Oh,
right? With
yeah,
this kid,
yeah.
they may sneak out one, maybe two, right? You got Jonathan Taylor, so you may be able to sneak out a couple wins. That's it. That's
But
it.
if
It
Jonathan, but in fairness, if I got a kid behind, behind center, and I got Jonathan Taylor, I can focus more on Jonathan Taylor, depending on how my defense is, and see if the kid can throw the football. So it may even be worse for Jonathan Taylor. So,
yes,
um,
yeah.
yeah,
And if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm like, how come I can't sit the bench like Matt? We can sit over on the side and let my body. Isn't that what Le'Veon Bell said? Taking too many rushes. So, in other quarterback news, interesting. My boy from FSU, Jameis, is still going to stay on the bench. He was hurt. Dalton came in there. Dalton tried to do a Jameis impression by throwing back-to-back pick sixes, and somehow he keeps the starting job. So that's not right. Something's not right. I know they were looking at Stevie D when you looked at points per game, though. With Dalton in the game, he was scoring 13 more points, 14 more points than what Jameis was in the game. So obviously, they had a little bit more production. But for some reason, Jameis with the Saints is not the same Jameis that we saw in Tampa. And I think a lot of it is that people are in his ear about this 30 and 30, right? That was the 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, right? But he was a gunslinger. And you don't want to stop a gunslinger from throwing the ball all over the place. You don't. You just have to tell him better reads, right? Help him focus on the better reads. Maybe certain situations you don't take those risks, but you're still throwing the ball all over the place. And he almost was neutered, right, when he went to the Saints. Because all of a sudden you had Breeze, then you had Taysom Hill, right? And now you got Dalton. And it's just like he's always looking over his shoulder and he's like, I gotta be perfect, right? Or else I'm gonna get benched. Well, guess what, James? You just got benched. He's got to maybe he can come back to Tampa. Okay, it's number 12 may be on his way out at the end of this year.
I don't know. I'm confused by the Andy Dalton starting. I don't see him. I mean, look, he threw 2 touchdowns, but he had 3 picks. He had two pick sixes in the game. I mean, that's a difference in the game.
Four touchdowns.
He had 4 touchdowns, 3 picks.
No, he had two.
Oh, 4 touchdowns in total. Right. So I mean, it's like he negated himself, right? So I don't. I don't know what the love affair is that is. I mean, Jameson to me throws a better football, and such. So and I don't. My other league, fantasy league, I got Mahomes and Herbert both on a bye week. I went out and picked up Winston. I'm like, oh, great, he's back. He's healthy. He's going to start. Now I picked him up. Now I find out he's not going to play for Red. Are you kidding me? So now I got to figure out what do I do? Because I need a quarterback this week because I'm 7-0, right? And so I'm going against a pretty decent team, and it's like, man, I lost 3 starters to buys and big point guys. And so now I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, it's not looking good. It is not looking. So I got to find I'll find a quarterback, right? It's just I wanted Jameson because he was at home in the dome, and I'm like, all right, let's go. But now I got screwed. So I'm hoping it's just Dennis Allen's playing the game right now, and he'll come Saturday and say, yeah, Jameis is my guy. Whoever I'm playing against.
So Stevie D, are you wound up yet?
I'm getting there.
Are you fired up yet?
I'm fired up, man.
It's time! Stop. Wait a minute.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you, and lately I've been kind of dominating the wait a minute segment, and so it sounds like I'm always angry, right? But this one is it's passionate on multiple levels as a dad, right? And it's about Britt Reed, right? And Britt Reed is going to be sentenced tomorrow here in Kansas City area at 1:30 Central Time on Friday. And there was an article that came out that really got my blood boiling. And I sent it over to you. And it was
Hold on one second. Tell everybody about who Britt
okay. The
Reed is.
story. Okay, so Britt Reed is the son of Andy Reid, and Britt Reed was on the coaching staff for the Chiefs as of a few years ago. And one night he was hanging out late, had some drinks at Arrowhead, right? Where the Chiefs play, and going over his film, whatever he was doing that night. He had some drinks, and he was driving home. And he was driving home on the 435, and he's coming across where on a curve, and he's flying. Right? He's not doing. I mean, he's above the speed limit, right? And you're drinking, and he hits a car that's disabled on the shoulder. This poor little girl is now in the hospital. She's fighting for her life, and now she's totally disabled the rest of her life because of the accident, right? She's 24/7 care, right? All because you're too lazy to call an Uber. You make more money, and you're lazy to call an Uber. So you wreck this family, but you're poor decision making.
And let me jump in. So this was happening days leading up to the Super Bowl, right? These were the final meetings that they had before jumping on the plane to head to the Super Bowl. This is not his first time. He is a habitual drunken driver, right? And I don't want to go too far into your story, but this is very important. The Chiefs did not take any actions against Britt Reed when this happened, right? Matter of fact, the NFL did not take any actions against Britt Reed, right? Remember this personal conduct policy?
Well,
nothing happened.
Yeah, and I can tell you why.
They let the clock expire, right? Because after a certain date, which was like a week later or at the end of the season, and the game was
right after the Super Bowl
in a few days. At the end of that season, or at the end of that game, the season came to a close. And when that season came to a close, his contract expired. And so thus, they waited for that game to be over. And then they announced that he wouldn't be coming back. Like all of a sudden, they have this epiphany and they're going to take action. Even though what Stevie D just relayed was, this horrific accident. And originally, even at this point, when his contract was not renewed, the life of this young girl was still in the balance, right? They thought she was in ICU, critical condition, and they weren't sure if she was going to survive, if she was going to make it. And so they thought the best way to handle this is let's sweep it under the rug, right? And let's just slowly let this fade away. I'm sorry, Stevie D,
because you painted a great picture, right? And I was probably going to get there on some of the facts, but you laid out really all the facts. And it's the cowardness of the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL to hide behind that the Super Bowl was in like 3 days and that the contract is going to end. And then the Chiefs at some point at the end of the season stepped up and said, we're going to pay your bills. Why? Because you're going to get sued. You're going to get so sued because you served somebody alcohol and let them get behind the wheel on a company job, right? Right? You were working and you served him alcohol while he's working, and now you're responsible for him leaving the building. So you're going to step up and finally say, we're going to pay the bills. You're right. You're going to pay those bills, right? Right? You're going to pay a lot more, right? But that's here nor there about the bills. It's this poor little girl, all because this man, like you said, a habitual a drunk driver, used, and I'm not going to use poor judgment because we're well past poor judgment at this point. Right? Well past poor judgment, right? You ruined that family and that little girl. And that just chokes you up, right? What this family's got to go through. And this poor little girl, she'll never go to school. She'll probably never get married, never have kids, and all of that's gone. As a professional coach, because you were too lazy to call somebody. I'm good. He's probably texting too, right? I just don't know how you hit a car that's disabled there on the side. I know it happens. Heck, police cars get rammed in the rear when the lights are going. So I guess it's possible, but he's probably distracted or something like that, and bam. But what really bugs me, is that article I sent you the other day. The prosecutor saying he should get some jail time. What do you mean you should get some jail time? Somebody's got to explain that to me. It's like when somebody comes to me and says, well, I think that's going to work. No. Is it going to work or is it not going to work? It's not, I think it's going to work or it should work. Yeah, it could work. That's not an answer. The answer is yes, it will work. No, it won't work. The answer, he should go to jail, is not an answer. The answer is he will be going to jail. And how long is he going to jail for? That word should fired me up. Fired me up when I read that. And if for some reason he does not go to jail, the whole judicial system is compromised. I'm sorry, it's compromised. Somebody's getting paid somewhere to make this go away for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry. Because there's no reason why this man does not go to jail for at least four years. He's never going to learn a lesson. He's going to do it again. He'll never work in the NFL again. I really do believe that, because nobody's going to hire Britt Reed, and Andy Reid can never hire his son again. That's gone. So he's never going to coach in the NFL. But this man, I think he can get up to 8 years, I think is what they said. He should get the 8 years because he's drunk before, and he hasn't learned his lesson. And now he's ruined the family, and the book should be thrown at him. And that should be a lesson for everybody. Everybody. When you drink and drive, there's consequences to that, and to allow people to get off, especially because you're the son of Andy Reid and you're a part of the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs right now are running on the toast of the town. I don't want to hear he should get jail. That's awful from that prosecutor. And if I was a voting person in that county, I would not vote that person back in, because that is crazy to think, because that can happen to any one of us. A family member could be killed, and that's the prosecutor I want. He should get jail time. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He should be held even more accountable, because the NFL has things in place for employees. Right? You didn't have to pay for it. There's a number you call and they'll take you. Give me a break. Right? It's not that it's excusable for you or I. It's never excusable for anybody. But they even have more reason to call somebody to take you. And this poor family is now devastated, right? And have to worry about this the remainder of this young child's life. And this child was 4 years old when it happened. And not for nothing, the Super Bowl was 2+ years ago, and now we're just getting to a court sentencing. That's another joke. Why does it take so long? Awful. It's awful by Jackson County, Missouri. Awful all the way to prosecutor. Awful choice of words. Awful choice of words. That kid deserves the max sentence he can get, and not a day less. And then I hope the Kansas City Chiefs have to pay. Not that it helps the kid at all, unfortunately. I just want that child to get the best medical care, and the Chiefs should be held responsible from a high dollar value to make sure that girl has everything she needs to make her life as easy as possible. And make sure that she's got around-the-clock care, because that's going to be a lot of work for that family, for that child. So I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, you're spot on. But you and I
drives me nuts.
You and I both know somebody who had a child that was in a debilitating car crash, right? And even though they showed signs of recovery, never going to be the same, right? But they got to a certain point, right? And then there really was no support that was being given, right? And it's almost like now they reached a plateau. And, the times that we've talked, right, spirits are still as high as they can get, but it's tough. It is so tough on that family. And the reason why I bring that up, Stevie D, is that even if there are funds that are going to be made available, those funds eventually are going to run out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, in my opinion, for a lifetime, there should be some level of compensation from the Kansas City Chiefs organization. Not till she turns 18, not till she turns 21, because there's still going to have to be support, right? Where she is now And who knows, hopefully through miracles and whatever happens that, we don't know what the future will bring, but we have an idea, right? We have an idea. So when she gets older, she's going to still need assisted care. She's going to need special needs for the house. She's going to need special needs for getting around. And she's going to be saddled with that burden, right? Not Britt Reed, not Andy Reed, not the Hunt family or whoever from the Chiefs. It's not going to be anybody like that. It's going to be her, right? All because of, like you said, just recklessness, carelessness, just being, just being absorbed with oneself, right? Not taking advantage of what's made available for you. And so my heart, and I echo the sentiments that you've had. We've talked about this at nauseum, right? We were the ones asking, "What's going on here?" Right? Because nothing happened. What's going on? And then to hear this, I mean, this is an absolute joke. And I was listening to you, potentially 4 years. Well, what's 4 years, right? What's 8 years, right? 8 years, this girl will be 12. And you'll be
it's just on the letter of the law for that accident. It's a maximum, I think, 8 or 9 years. Is the maximum.
I get that, but still, I mean, what is that, right? I'm not equating to what the actual terms could be, but what is that, right? That's a speed bump in your life, right? But 8 years is just a quarter, or not even a quarter, right? That just puts her at 12 or 13, still with her whole life to go. It's sad. It's sad. And so, when are we supposed to find out? I think you said tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, Friday the 28th is at 1:30 Central is when they're going to do the sentencing. So
yeah, so
there'll be a follow up next week. There'll be a follow up next week on that
for sure. No, Stevie D, we made it through another one. Again, we apologize to all of our listeners. Little chaos between the two for the last 24, 36 hours, but we're back in the saddle. I'm off of a bye week. Thank goodness. Oh, man, thank goodness. And so, but I got the Sunday night. Who do you guys have this week, Stevie D?
New England at MetLife.
Yes, and you have the Patriots. So we'll have some good commentary to come back for on our next podcast.
Yep.
Want to tell everybody always, as CVD so smoothly just slid right in there. OWsports.net. Check us out. Click the links. You'll be able to see what Josh's favorite Halloween candy is. You'll be able to see all of that. There's constantly new content and updates that are out there. We're still working on it. A little work in progress. Adding in the Jets hangar, the Mafia Den, right, to jump on in there for exclusive content there, as well as to be able to watch some of the previous podcasts that we've had. And then always check us out on social media. My social media guru over here, right?
The intern, man, I got to give props to the intern, man. He is helping and assisting the old man over here on social media. I don't know social media from a hole in the wall, but he's helping. So
on the gram, the king of the gram. like the younger kids. Let me segue just for a second.
Don't age yourself, man. Don't age yourself.
This is about to happen. So I'm standing in the store, right? I'm standing in line. And this young girl is in front of me, and she pulls out her phone. And I swear her thumbs were moving so fast, right? She was like, blah, 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 blah. Enter. Right. And then you see like this long message that she typed. And then somebody replied back and she was going at it again. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm technically savvy. I'm pretty good with stuff. I know how to find my way. I'm going to text her like this or one button at a time, looking at the keyboard. And now with the eyes going back, I can't see where half the letters are. Right. So now I got to make sure. It just amazed me how fast she was going. So I'm glad you have the gram. I'm glad you have social media. And we do welcome anybody. You can reach us on Twitter and on Instagram and on Facebook. So always just look for OW Sports out there. We'll be happy to chat with you. We've had a couple in the mailbag, Stevie D, that unfortunately we didn't get to the mailbag. We'll make sure that we read a couple of those next week. Always good to hear from the folks out there. So this is going to wrap it up for us. For my co-host Stevie D, I'm Vince, and we'll talk to you